So today we have another reverse cancellation. The cancelers will become the canceled. And as we get into the story, if there's any sincere person left in America who still thinks that cancel culture is a myth, doesn't exist, they may want to pay attention and seriously consider the case of Cara Dumoplin. Okay, she's a popular baby sleep training expert who, I hadn't heard of before this, but apparently very popular. And she has been ruthlessly attacked, boycotted, doxxed, and smeared over the past week after someone, we'll have more on that someone in a moment, went through FEC records and discovered that she donated to Donald Trump. They went through the records and found this out. Now, many media outlets have reported on the story, eager to amplify the news of a non-political person's private campaign contributions, and most of the coverage has been along the lines of this headline from The Cut, which is a New York Magazine publication. They say, quote, "A boycott is brewing against formerly beloved child care consultant Cara Dumoplin, who has reportedly been funneling some of the profits from her pricey classes into the Trump campaign's coffers." Now, this is disgraceful, of course, and also not true. Not only are they straining to make donations sound sinister by using a phrase like funneling the profits, but they assume that the money that was being given to the Trump campaign came from her child care consultant business. But we have no way of knowing that. We don't know where the money came from. She has a husband apparently who works. He's a doctor. Going to come from him. And it doesn't matter anyway. Cara Dumoplin offers advice on how to care for infants. Very good advice, I have been told. And she never chose to publicize her personal views. The small amount of money she donated to a political campaign, about $1,000 over the course of 3 years, which is what she said in a statement to the Today Show, that's of no one's concern but her own. This is not a case of a public person choosing to air their political views and then experiencing the divided response that any sane person must expect at this point. This is rather a woman in a completely apolitical line of work whose financial records, along with her address, have been dug up and published in order to personally destroy her in an act of collective ideological vengeance. It's cancel culture. That's what cancel culture is. Hit pieces in the media claim that moms across America have somehow been betrayed. They feel betrayed because a woman who gave them advice on how to help their infant sleep happens to hold political views that don't align with their own. Sophia Tesfaye in Salon, she wrote an article openly admitting that this is another case of cancel culture, but she says that it's good. It's a good thing because it holds Dumoplin accountable for the sin of possessing a mind and forming opinions of her own. By the way, if you're wondering, if you're not familiar with this woman and you're wondering what sort of content this right-wing extremist was putting out there, here, just as a quick example, to give you a frame of reference, this dangerous person who has to be held accountable, this right-wing extremist, here she is, and this is sort of the typical content that she would put out. Here she is explaining how to properly burp a newborn. This is the woman that is right now the target of public rage. Let's listen.
Lots of times I see parents, when they try to burp, they put her right here like this, and they do this. And they're trying to burp, but she's just not burping. So here's what I want to show you. Take her and put her little chest up and over your shoulder like this, and then cup your hand, make a C like this. You want to hear it. Hear that? That doesn't hurt her. But hear how you can hear that noise? That's what's going to get your burp out. Sometimes parents do this, and it just doesn't get a burp out. You want to cup it so it doesn't hurt her back, and just go like this. So that's one method, is up over the shoulder. Again, get her chest up and over your shoulder like that.
Wow. What an extremist. Good advice on the burping, though, by the way. My favorite method, though, is you sit the baby up. I think she gets into this. You sit the baby up and hold them sort of by the chin and then pat them on the back. I think it gets the burp out a little bit better. But anyway, that's what, that's it. That's what she does. She just tells you how to care for babies. I am not aware of any video that she's ever put out advocating for a candidate or anything like that. Now, the guy who seems to have gotten the cancel ball rolling in this case, his name is Jamie Grayson, and he's a fellow parenting influencer on Instagram. And he quite clearly saw this as an opportunity to kneecap his Instagram competition. He's the one who first published, or he's one of the original ones who first published Dumoplin's FEC records, which include her address again, along with a lengthy screed promising that he's a, quote, very liberal homosexual male. He doesn't hold any of her heretical views. Not me. I'm not like her. and other vultures from the mommy and daddy blogger sphere swooped in to get a piece of the carcass, and that's how this all started. This is one of the primary hallmarks of cancel culture. And it's how you differentiate it from your average boycott or a genuine case of holding somebody accountable. The people who are looking to obscure this issue, that's what they'll always try to equate these things with. And they'll say, well, it's just a regular boycott. It's holding someone accountable. Now, this is how you tell the difference. Because in cancel culture, it's always vindictive and contemptuous. And often the bus is being driven by someone who stands to personally gain from the destruction of the person who's being thrown under it. Now, that's not to say that the average member of the outrage mob, the moms claiming to be betrayed and vowing never to use this child care program again, have self-serving motivations. I don't think they do. They're more like maniacs driven to the edge of insanity by hatred for their fellow Americans and by their fear of people who think differently from themselves. Just consider for a moment what they're actually doing here. I'm talking about the average person. And I was going through some of the comments, and it was a dark and twisted journey reading some of the comments of former fans of this woman who now say, oh, I'm done. I'm not going to use the program anymore. Assuming they follow through on their boycott threats. Think about what they're doing. Because Dumaplin, by all accounts, is a miracle worker in the field of baby sleep training. That's her expertise. Over the last day, I've spoken to a number of people who swear by her methods, say it's a lifesaver. And anyone who's had an infant who struggles to sleep knows that it can just about wreck your life, at least for as long as the nighttime struggle sessions continue. We have been through this with a few of our kids. It is very, very difficult because it turns out that sleep is a rather crucial human need. When you're being deprived of it, you become desperate pretty quickly. There's a reason that sleep deprivation is considered a form of torture according to the Geneva Convention. Whether infants are therefore guilty of human rights abuses is a legal question for another time. But what all this means is that these betrayed mothers will choose now to suffer with a sleepless baby rather than use the methods and the advice of a woman who donated to Donald Trump. They're choosing ideology over their own health and sanity. And they don't have much of the latter to spare to begin with. It makes you wonder whether these people would intentionally die of thirst if a Trump supporter recommended they drink water. As this episode shows, cancel culture itself is not the underlying problem. It's real, but it's not the problem. It's not the problem. It is a symptom. The disease is a worldview that cannot tolerate any form of dissent from anyone. It sees all things in a political light. It sees all people as political entities. It sees anyone outside of its tribe as an enemy worthy of condemnation and worse. It clamors for diversity, but seeks a world of sameness. It demands tolerance, but never returns the favor. Cancel culture emerges inevitably from this hateful ideology, otherwise known as leftism. And as we have seen, no one, not even this woman, is exempt from its wrath. And that's why the cancelers are canceled. And by the way, quick pitch for her, unpaid, if you're looking for advice on how to get a baby to sleep, maybe this is a woman you should support. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.